What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Gary McKenzie back at you again. Another episode of Gridiron Lines. And the Chiefs are coming off a really nice 17-9 victory versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was an away game. And you know what? It was pretty nice to have Chris Jones back.
Electing to go for it on 4th and 5. Lawrence is sacked at the 40.
And the Chiefs defense did something really special versus the Jaguars, only giving up 9 points versus a very good offensive team. So far in 2023, after the first 2 weeks of the season, the Chiefs are only allowing 15 points per game, and 7 points were allowed on a pick six that never should have even happened. The Chiefs secondary is playing at an elite level, and Trent McDuffie is leading the group, kind of cementing himself as the second best defensive player on the Chiefs defense. And that says a lot because L'Jarius Sneed has been playing great too. But overall, the Chiefs secondary has just been playing lights out to start the season. And this is great news. You might have worried about a sophomore slump with some of their rookie corners from last year not making a good jump to their second year, but that doesn't seem to be the case at all.
Going to shift to the backfield with Dearness Johnson. A lot of movement there, trying to work it.
And in my opinion, I don't care whether the Chiefs are winning with their defense, with their offense, or with both. In fact, I grew up on 90s Chiefs football. That led to a lot of heartache, but it also led to a lot of love for defensive football. And if this Chiefs team ends up putting a good defensive unit on the field, add Mahomes into that mix, this team is going to be incredibly difficult to beat. They may look back on that week 1 loss versus the Lions as one blemish on their record, because if the Chiefs defense continues to play this way, their offense is going to figure things out, and this team is going to become extraordinary. Nothing short of perhaps going to another Super Bowl, winning another Super Bowl, but the defense has to stay at it. So the Chiefs seem to be moving in the right direction. The offense, as far as the receivers go, not as many drop passes last week. We talked about that in the last video. I told you that those drops were noise, statistical noise. The Chiefs were not going to continue to drop those passes. And yes, the Chiefs continue to use a wide receiver by committee group, but they're trying to find out what pieces work, what doesn't work, what skill sets can Andy Reid take advantage of with the wide receiver group that he has, and they're still learning. Remember, the preseason is only 3 games, and the first 2 games of the regular season, the Chiefs are still sorting things out on the offensive side of the ball. But they have players and they have pieces that can be turned into something really great for Patrick Mahomes to distribute the ball to, and I only see this group improving as the season goes on. So the Chiefs appear to have this upward trajectory where they played much better versus the Jaguars, still sloppy, still some things to clean up, still some turnovers. There were 2 drop passes in that game, and there were a lot of penalties. So the Chiefs, while they won the game, they still have some things to work on, but they're moving at an upward trajectory. The exact opposite thing can be said about the Chicago Bears. They are facing an absolute mess. So I was on Twitter earlier today, and I got news that the FBI raided Hallis Hall. And at first I was like, what the heck is Hallis Hall? I don't even know what this is. Well, it turns out that is the Chicago Bears headquarters. That's where their front office conducts business. That's where the coaches conduct their business, do their work. And in addition to that, there were also rumors floating around that Peanut Tillman, one of my favorite defensive players of all time, Tillman, the Peanut Punch, knocking fumbles out like nobody's business. Anyways, rumors that he was in the FBI, or that he is in the FBI, and he was one of the individuals responsible for raiding Hallis Hall. And then, shortly after that, word broke that the Bears' defensive coordinator, after 2 games, has chosen to resign from his position. This is an absolute mess. And on top of that, Justin Fields is saying that some of his robotic play and his poor play is because of the offense, because of the offensive play calling, the coaches. It's not necessarily 100% his fault, but I went back and I looked at his games and his play, and he is holding on to the ball way too long. And the reason for that is because his wide receivers are having a hard time getting open. I saw tons of plays like this.
Deep drop. Running out of time, and it's knocked out of there. Bears are back.
Now, if you're a Bears fan, this matchup should have you really concerned because Justin Fields may be holding on to the ball too long a lot of the time, but he's doing that because his receivers are having a hard time getting open. And I believe this is going to lead to a bad matchup for the Bears offense because the Chiefs secondary, like we mentioned earlier in the video, is playing tremendously well. And so if Justin Fields thinks he can hold the ball back there for that long, he's going to have a hard time versus the Chiefs defense and that pass rush in Arrowhead Stadium because Chris Jones and George Karlaftis have both been playing very well to start the season. And Justin Fields, because he's been holding on to the ball for so long, he already has been sacked 10 times this year. So he has been sacked on 13% of his dropbacks. And a lot of those have been coverage sacks or because his wide receivers just couldn't get open or he's having a hard time seeing down the field. The Bears offense has to address this or it's going to be a really long day in Kansas City. Now, before when we were talking about the whole FBI investigation, I want to add that as of now, those are just rumors. And both the Bears organization and Williams's lawyers have stated that there has been no raid. The FBI is not investigating anything. But, who knows what the truth is at this moment. All I know is that the Bears are having a meltdown in their front office. Their team is kind of collapsing. And that situation with the Chiefs being on the up and up, the Bears somewhat collapsing or sort of collapsing with all this mess that they have going on, has led people like Carrington Harrison to believe that the Chiefs versus Bears game this weekend is a bad bet. So Carrington Harrison says, do not take the Chiefs in this matchup because of all the publicity. The negative publicity for the Bears is causing them to be devalued. And right now, if you look at the line, the spread for Vegas, the Chiefs are 12.5-point favorites. Now, I'm going to agree with Carrington Harrison here. I will say that 12.5-point line does seem a bit excessive to me. So the way I do my lines and the way I make my decisions if I were to bet is I kind of create a spread in my own mind. And I believe the Chiefs should be 8.5-point favorites in this game based on some of the slow start their offenses have had, or the slow start that their offense has had. And, couple that into the fact that they've played somewhat close one-score games in both their games this season. So I think the Chiefs should be 8.5-point favorites, whereas Vegas has the Bears as 12.5-point underdogs, or the Chiefs as 12.5-point favorites. That's a 4-point difference. So in my bet for this game, I believe that the Chiefs will win the game outright. However, the Bears will cover that 12.5-point spread. I think the Chiefs defense continue to solidify their defensive excellence with another good game. And if you remember, last week I was 1-1 in my picks, 1 of 2 with my picks. And last week I picked the Chiefs to win, but the Jaguars to cover. The Chiefs won, but the Jaguars did not cover. So now I'm 2-4. And maybe next week I can get on the winning side of things if the Chiefs are able to win, but the Bears are able to cover. However, let me know in the comments, what do you think the outcome of this game is going to be? Do you think that the Chiefs cover that 12.5-point spread? How do you feel about Carrington Harrison's remarks about, public perception of this game causing issues with people wanting to overbet the Chiefs? Do you think there's any truth to that, or do you think the Chiefs are going to kill the Bears? They're going to win by more than 12.5? Let me know in the comments. As always, make sure that you hit that like button. I think it's somewhere down here. And then subscribe if you haven't done so already. Here at RGR Football, we're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. That's our goal. We're inching closer and closer to it each and every day, but we need your help. So help us out. Give us a hand. Hit that subscribe button. But once again, let me know in the comments, who do you think wins this game? Are you betting on this game? And if you were betting, who do you think is going to cover that 12.5-point spread? Do you think it's going to be the Chiefs? Do you think it's going to be the Bears? And then once again, I want to reiterate, the whole situation with the Bears investigation, the FBI, that is all hearsay at this point in time. Rumors. However, it is a terrible look. The optics are awful for the Bears. And we'll see what happens this week. But right now, the Bears are in the basement of the NFC North. And they've scored 18.5 points per game while giving up, I believe, 32.5 points per game. So they're losing by a margin of 14 points per game. It has been an ugly start for them, and I hope that trend continues when they visit the Chiefs in Arrowhead, because obviously we want the Chiefs to win. But that's all I got for today's video. Thanks for stopping by. Here's to a good game on Sunday. I want to see the defense to continue to dominate, the offensive pieces, the wide receivers to continue to grow into their roles. I do want to see my draft crush Rashee Rice out there a little more. He's been effective when he's been on the field. But I want to see the Chiefs win and the offense continue to improve, the defense continue to look stout. That's all I got. This is Gary signing out. Let's go Chiefs.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.